In this video, we're going to talk about the CFPB. Is the CFPB going to make it? Last week, the Trump administration fired just about everybody that was in the CFPB. Well, or the person who he put in charge of the CFPB fired everybody. Well, almost everybody. They went to court. A judge put a stay on the firings and stated that you can't just do it that way, that it has to be done the right way. Approximately 1,500 employees were said to be fired, 90% of the workforce under the CFPB. So President Trump has long criticized what he calls overregulation. Under his administration, the CFPB has been shifting its focus, less enforcement, more education and empowerment, according to his appointees. In fact, in the recent weeks, new rules were proposed to reduce the Bureau's role in monitoring things like medical debt, payday loans, credit card fees, and overcharges. A lot of stuff where they said we don't want to have our hand too deep into what those companies' decisions are. But the most drastic development, the Trump administration attempted to dismantle the CFPB by terminating nearly 90% of its workforce. Approximately 1,500 employees have been there has been a temporary halt to the firings by a federal judge as of Friday. I believe it was Friday. These layoffs were part of a broader effort led by the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, associated with Elon Musk, aiming to realign the Bureau's function. Critics argue this move undermines consumer protections, especially in areas like student loans, medical debt, and digital payment. With student loans, what we've been seeing from individuals was that a lot of the student loans are starting to report on the credit reports again, and a lot of people ended up getting late payments. We've had a rash of individuals coming to us where they've had late payments reported on their student loans when they were not notified by the student loan servicers. They called the student loan servicers. Student loan servicer said, you need to dispute it directly with the credit reporting agencies, that we can't do anything about it on the front side, but if you dispute it and then when we get it on the back side, we're going to take that late payment off. I don't know why they got to do it that way, but that's what they were told. Judge Amy Berman Jackson expressed deep concerns over the legality of these actions, emphasizing that the administration may have violated court orders requiring individual assessments before terminations. This goes back to the 1,500 individuals that were laid off. What they're saying is that for some reason, the way that they're trying to get over or get by firing those individuals is that they're saying that they didn't assess themselves. That was the first way, that they had to put in an assessment of their job performance, which is crazy. You're supposed to be assessed by a manager or someone who's in leadership with an organization. So then they came back and said that because they didn't put in their assessment, they're being let go. And the judge said that that's not the way that you're supposed to be doing it that way. Big banks and lenders, they are cheering. They've long argued that the CFPB was too aggressive in hurting innovation, but consumer advocates that are sounding the alarms that fear that ordinary people will have fewer protections when it comes to credit reporting errors, debt collection abuse, and financial scams. Here's where it gets very interesting. If these changes go into full effect, we could see looser rules for lenders and more burdens on you to fight unfair charges or fraud. Debt collectors calling more frequently. Remember, there was a 7-7 rule that was put in place as an addition, as an amendment to the Fair Debt Collectors Practices Act. They stated that debt collectors cannot call you more than 7 times in 7 days. So basically 1 time per day. And if they got in touch with you, they had to wait. If they engaged with you, where they spoke to you on the phone, even if there was no resolution, no admission of the alleged debt, anything, they had to wait a whole entire 7 days before starting the call process over again. And that counted for email contacts, text contacts, social media contacts, and phone contacts. all of that was a context. They couldn't do 7 of each. They had to do one of either one that they chose over 7 days. If they didn't get in touch with you, only one of those different methods to get in touch with you. Medical debt returning on credit reports. So under President Biden, they said, hey, medical debt does not determine the risk factor of an individual being able to pay a loan that was given to them. Well, they took it off the credit reports. We saw a lot of people get that benefit, and their credit scores went up. They were able to get access to loans at a lower interest rate that they were not going to be able to qualify for with having that medical debt on their credit reports. Well, if it goes the way that it's looking, medical debt is going to be returning to the credit reports, and that's going to make individuals' credit reports go down. There's going to be fewer responses to the CFPB complaints because, number one, the credit card companies or debt collectors or lenders, they're going to feel a little bit more emboldened that they're not going to have an organization that's a federal organization over them. But don't worry about that. You know, that's not the credit. When I started the credit repair shop, we started in 2006. CFPB didn't start until after 2008. And we were very successful because it's not just about trying to run to some organization to do stuff for you. This is what makes us different than other companies, is that you're going to have to, what we call face-to-face, phone-to-phone, human-to-human, voice-to-voice, talk to people to get a lot of stuff resolved. And if you're willing to do stuff like that, you're going to get a lot further than thinking that you're going to go and run to CFPB or even a state organization some of the times, or the attorney general, run into them. This is one of the benefits of me being in business, in other businesses, that I know that the number one top line thing, or the top line that's with every business owner, is that we want to resolve things so we can move forward. That's just the mindset of business owners. And so it's going to be, to be able to get stuff accomplished, it's going to be a lot of back and forth work that's going to be needed to get done. So what you need to think about are the changes that are long overdue and the dangerous rollbacks to consumer rights. This is what people need to start thinking about. If this starts to happen, if this does happen, there's going to be a rollback of a lot of the benefits that CFPB put in place. One that I can think of was the debt collection letter. Before the CFPB put together a structure on how debt collection letters had to be sent out, debt collection letters were basically fooling individuals that they had no rights. Now with the debt collection letter, all of the funds have to be the same. They have to identify who was the original creditor, how much the alleged debt is, the account number. They usually put partial account number. They have to tell you that you have a right to dispute any or all of this alleged debt. They have to give you the address to where you can send that to. They had to give you the time frame that you had to send that to. Like, a lot of rules were put in place, and the debt collectors all agreed this would be a good thing, that if we have some structure so individuals would know their rights. And if we're in the debt collection business, that this would be a good thing for us. It would be a good thing for the consumer. But if they take away that rule, not to say that most debt collectors will not stay with what has been put into action. Some debt collection companies may go back to the old way of doing it. And the old way of doing it was people did not know that they had a right to dispute any or all or part, any whatever, with that debt. That's going to be a big issue where people were actually paying debts that were not proven. So I want you to post your questions and comments on this one, because as it stands right now, I do not know if the CFPB is going to make it. I do not know if they're going to make it. I do not know. I can tell you from speaking with individuals who are, I don't want to say like I have someone that's on the inside, but people that I know personally, but people have given me information. This is what they say, is that it's like hell going to work. Imagine going to work and you get emails, or you're locked out of your computer and you got to get back access into your computer, that things are being done on the inside to even make people just say, I'm just want to walk out of here and just go and find another job. And I don't agree with doing that to people. That is horrendous. When you're talking about people's finances, you're talking about people's livelihoods, being able to pay their rent, pay their mortgage, card payments, credit card bills, medical bills, stuff like that. And there's uncertainty with their job, and they've had certainty. That's putting a lot of stress on individuals, and that can also lead a lot of individuals to get sick, because one of the number one reasons why a lot of people end up getting sick is because they have a lot of financial stress. So I don't agree with that. If you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch video What Makes Us Different, so you can see my 8-point validation process, my two-phase settlement process. Credit repair is a process. Credit repair is not overnight. And regardless of how long it takes for you to get your credit repaired, you are an individual. Your credit is different than anyone else's. What you did to your credit is different, and what creditors did to your credit with the items and how they've got stuff shown on there is totally unique to you. So you must be able to buy in and say, no matter how long it takes, as long as work is being done, I'm all in. Because 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years from now, though the years pass, what are you going to do with the time right now? That's what I'm asking. Go to thecreditrepairshop.com and you can sign up. We don't charge anything for you to get started. If you need your credit reports and scores, if you don't know what's on your credit reports and scores, all three, not just one, not just two, all three, your scores, what's on there, what's not on there. It could be good credit. You want to make sure that that's right, balances, everything, because that could affect your score. Understanding your utilization. You need to understand everything. You need to always know what's going on with your credit reports. I pay for monitoring service with my credit reports. So if you don't have all three credit reports and scores, not talking about a free service where they're just going to try to sell you a bunch of stuff. I'm talking about getting your credit reports and getting constant updates with your credit reports and scores. You're not going to get that with the free places. You're not going to get that at the annual credit report place. You need everything. Go to the3scores.com. Links are below this video. Get your credit reports and scores, and at a minimum, understand what you're looking at. If you're looking at repairing your credit, understand what's going on so you can make a decision for yourself to be able to move forward to repair your credit. The next thing, if you have debt collectors coming after you early in the game, grab my 3-pack of letters: statute of limitations, debt validation, cease and desist. I'd give them for free. Link is below this video. I do have a paid group also, and I'll also have a service with summonsmaster.com, where if you have debt collectors sending you letters, you can upload your letter into Summons Master. It'll create what I call an exclusive certified debt validation letter to stop debt collectors from coming after you from debt that they have purchased. Also, if something that you should do for any debt that you get is check the last payment that you made on that charged off debt, because that's when the statute of limitations clock starts to tick, and you may not be legally have no legal obligation to pay that debt. So you need to make sure that you always check the statute of limitations. You go to my website, creditrepairshop.com, thecreditrepairshop.com. On the blog at the bottom, type in statute, and you'll get the statute of limitations for all 50 states. In the fourth column, in column number 1 is going to be contracts, promissory notes. You're going to have oral contracts, and then you're going to have, in the fourth column, you're going to have open-end accounts. Credit card accounts, usually in most states, is going to have a shorter statute of limitations period. That's why these credit card companies and also communications companies and cell phone, cable type companies, there's a 2-year statute of limitations. That's why they try to sell the debt a lot quicker, because they know that the statute of limitations is coming up. Thank you for your time. Post your questions and comments. This is Stephen A. Williams, President and Founder of the CreditRepairShop.com.